Every day, my body depends on technology, math, and discipline to do what a normal person's body does naturally. This is what type 1 diabetes looks like in college. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was 16 years old, so I was a junior in high school. I was admitted to the hospital in a state of DKA or diabetic ketoacidosis, which happens when your blood sugar is high for a prolonged period of time. My parents and I didn't know the signs of diabetes yet, so it honestly got to be a near-death experience, and it was really scary. But after a couple days in the hospital, the doctors evened everything out, and that was where my journey began. It's an autoimmune condition, so it's not caused by lifestyle. My pancreas essentially just doesn't produce insulin because my body attacked the healthy cells in it. So now my body does not produce the hormone insulin, which regulates your blood sugar. As a result, I have to do that manually every hour of every day. Being in college adds a whole new layer to the mix. It's unpredictable meals, late nights, stress, all which impact your blood sugar, which a lot of people don't know unless you're constantly monitoring it like I am. So for me, it's not just about balancing my work and social life, it's also about balancing my blood sugar. Every decision I make, when I eat, even when I walk to class, can all impact my blood sugar. Sometimes even the weather can impact my blood sugar. Sometimes I'm mid-class and I have to treat a low because of walking, and sometimes I get a spike in my blood sugar right before a test because of stress hormones. So it's not all impacted by what I eat. You don't see it, but for me, it's always there. I'm very thankful for how far technology has come and what it allows me to do. I wear a CGM on my arm, which is a continuous glucose monitor and essentially gives me 24/7 readings of my blood sugar. This is me putting on my CGM. I essentially just feel for a good spot and take the applicator, which has a button on it, and it dispenses the sensor into my skin, and there you go. I do supplement this with a finger pricking test kit just in case it's inaccurate sometimes. And then I also wear an insulin pump, which connects to my body and allows me to give myself insulin. Type 1 diabetics can eat very normally like a normal person. It really just depends on what we call carb counting. Before I eat, I need to estimate the carbs and put them either into my pump or an app on my phone to allow it to calculate the amount of units of insulin that it's going to give me for the amount of carbs that are in the meal. Each person, depending on your age and activity level, have a insulin ratio or insulin to carb ratio. And essentially what that is how many units of insulin you take per amount of carbs you eat. It's kind of like doing math before you eat any meal. You also have to factor in the delay that insulin has in the body. With synthetic insulin, which is the kind that type 1 diabetics use, it takes about 20 minutes to start working in the body. So a lot of planning around meal times is figuring out when you're going to eat and bolusing or giving insulin. Bolusing is another term for giving insulin 20 minutes prior so that you can eat in 20 minutes and your blood sugar will stay stable. A lot of times I carry around a nutrition scale so I can get the exact weight in grams of what I'm eating, and then I use Google to look up how many carbs are in the amount of grams of the food that I'm eating so I can get a very accurate count. There's a lot of other factors that go into what you're eating and how it impacts your blood sugar. For example, if you're eating a meal that is higher in fats, that can impact your blood sugar up to hours later. And so there's a lot of mental thinking going on even hours post-meal of figuring out if you're going to get a rise in blood sugar because the meal is starting to digest because the fats kind of held off the impact of the carbs for a longer period of time. On the other hand, there are more faster acting carbs. So if you're eating something that is very, very high in sugar with absolutely no fat, such as like a non-diet drink, that's going to skyrocket your blood sugar very fast if you don't bolus accordingly. It's really important to spread awareness about type 1 because a lot of people get type 1 and type 2 mixed up, and it leads to a lot of discrimination in our community. There's only about 9.4 million people worldwide living with type 1 diabetes. As it is an autoimmune condition, it doesn't impact as many people. It's just like thyroid disease or celiac disease, where your body just gets confused. Sometimes autoimmune diseases can be triggered by really anything, such as stress or just a major change in your life. Living with type 1 is not easy, but it is a part of who I am. It's taught me to be disciplined, self-aware, and strong. If you know someone with type 1 diabetes, or you see someone with medical devices, Ask questions, we don't mind. All we want is to be understood. Coming to terms with the fact that I'll probably be living with this disease my entire life was hard, unless there are incredible leaps and bounds made within the medical community. It's not very likely, but I've come to love it and just understand that it makes me who I am. I do have some days that are really hard where it just seems like my blood sugar is a roller coaster and I can't seem to get it to stabilize. But then there are other days where I honestly forget that I even have it, and it's become like an afterthought to me. It's so natural at this point. It has very much become my normal, and I am super proud of it.